Second thing you have to learn to do is read it. But I'm going to get into that. Everyone says read. I'm going to get right from the top. Let's see if I can do this. I want you to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says 4 times in the Quran that He has made this book easy. This happened, actual thing. Lady on the plane sitting next to me, big, nice lady, big hair, huge hair, Texas lady. What do you do, son? I said, I used to work in radiology. I teach phonetics. We're with 33,000 feet in the air. I wish I could make this up. She goes, you teach Arabic? I said, yes. And I kind of felt the woof, here it comes. She kind of paused. You could see the the wheel started to move. She looked at him, she goes, can you teach me to say jihad? I said, baby girl, I ain't gonna teach you nothing. I pressed my call button. I called the lady over. I just said, ma'am, I just want you to know that I didn't say that word. This big white lady did. The Southwest people were laughing. They're like, oh, don't worry about it. And no, because she wanted to learn. Now, why am I saying this point? I want to show you. I said, ma'am, I can't teach you that word that you said, not me. And she was all happy. I said, but what I can do is, it's a 75-minute flight. I can teach you the letters in 28 minutes. She goes, we can do letters in 28 minutes? I said, sure. You got some time? And I thought to pull it out electronically. I said, no. I grabbed my napkin, and I wrote the first letter. I just want to give you an idea on how easy it is to read. I wrote the first letter. I said, ma'am, what do you see? She said, I see a stick. I said, good. Where does the stick come from? She goes, a tree. I said, what grows on a tree? What did she say? A leaf. I said, 100%. Then I wrote three boats, no dots, 3 boats. I made 3 boats. I said, ma'am, there are 3 boats. She said, I see the boats. And then I drew 6 little dots. I said, these 6 little dots, they're boys. She goes, a boy playing in a boat. I said, yeah. So I put one of the little boys underneath the first boat. So it was a boy at the bottom of the boat. What did she say? Boy, bottom, boat. And then I said, ba. The first boat with 2 dots at the, 1 dot at the bottom, ba. So she said, alif, boy. The second letter, I said, ma'am, how many boys in this boat? How many boys in the second boat? How many? 2, right? I said, ma'am, I'm sorry, I didn't catch. She said 2. I'm sorry, what? She said 2. I said 2. Da. So she said, alif, boy, 2. And then I said, ma'am, there's a sound in Arabic. We don't have it in English. I said, tell me what's the third boat. Who's in the third boat? And jokingly, what did she say? I said, how many boys are in the third boat? She said, how many? 3. I said, tha. Alif, boy, 2, 3. Then I said, look, ma'am, we've got 3 jugs, and I just wrote the jug. And I did this exactly with the cup. Sound recognition. I said, what's in the first jug? She said, oh, there's a dot. It's full. I said, jug. She said, jeem. Then I said, ma'am, what's in the second jug? What's in this, everyone, after jeem, what's in the second jug? Ha is in the second jug? Y'all are still looking at it as, I want you to look at it like the big-haired Texan lady with the big brooch. Her brooch, we could have landed a small aircraft on that thing. Let's try it one more time. Friends, jug after jeem. It's hollow. The jug is hollow. And she said hollow, I said ha. And the third jug, I broke my glass. I said, oh, it has a scratch at the top. What sound does a scratch make? And she said, I said, kha. So she looked at me and goes, alif, boy, 2, 3, jug, hollow, scratch. And I looked at her and said, alif, ba, ta, tha, ja, ha, kha. She said, I like this game. Then I drew a 5 and a 6, and I put the greater than sign in between. A 5 and a 6, and I put the greater than sign. She said, then. I said, da. I said, have you been to an Indian restaurant? She goes, yeah, I like the yellow dal. I said, that's good. Then I said, in an Arab restaurant, you would order adas. And she goes, yeah, I've heard about that. So she said, da. Then she had a zipper on her coat. A zipper. I took the end of the zipper, and I put it up and down. It doesn't go zzz, it goes zzz. And she said, zip. And I said, the. She said, the. I said, then we circled 3 and zipper. She said, these letters are not there. I'm going to do 2 more just so you get an idea. Then I said, ma'am, when you pull on a lion's tail, when you pull on his tail, what does he say? Raw. Friends, I just need to do this for 1 second. Ain't no lion in the world that says roar. If you ever walk up to a lion and he goes roar, come here often. What lion says roar? This is the problem with transliteration. A-L-I-F. You ever walk up to a lion, pull his tail, and he goes, please stop, roar. What does a lion say? Raw. He growls, raw. He rolls his raw. He says raw. So she said, unlike you, uncultured, roar. Go see a lion. You guys have the largest zoo or aquarium. Go see your lion. So the roar turns into raw. And I said, what sound does a bumblebee make? I made the bumblebee with the dot, with the stinger. And she goes, zzz. And I said, when it bites you, what do you say? Ah, zzz, ah. She said, za. A leaf boy, 2, 3, jug, hollow, scratch, the zipper. A lion says raw. A bumblebee says zzz, ah. And I said, if you have seen 3 little boys, what do you have to tell them? Shh. To build the airplane, we needed nails, hammer, and a saw. And we went, sisters, when you pull a lamb chop out of the freezer, what do you have to let it do? Law. And when you put it in the blender, you bring your tongue out here and say, va. And if I'm sneezing and I have a cold, I have a really bad cough. And she said, cough. And I said, can you say it? Try it. I said, say Qur'an. And she said, Qur'an. So I said, okay, you got some South Indian in you, no problem. So I said, like a grizzly bear, do it. Say Qur'an. And she did it. It's a big white lady. Qur'an. Meanwhile, we've drawn a crowd by now. My point to you, she walked off that plane knowing her 28 sounds. 29. I did Alif and Hamza as 2 different letters. If she can do it in 28 minutes, I don't mean brothers, sisters, go read Quran. I mean learn to read Quran perfectly, at least from 0 in a week, and then get started on the second component of Quran, which is recitation. There are videos. YM and I shot a couple of videos on Isti'adha. They're up. They have like 6,000, 7,000 views. Just me sitting there. I think it's Aslam. What's the kid's last name? Aslam. Yasir Aslam. Thank you. Yasir is writing it, and I'm saying, A'udhu. And I say, like the zipper, remember? A'udhu billahi. And I say Billy. And we complete isti'adha. So when a speaker gets up here and says, do something, don't be like, yeah, inshallah, when I get around to it. When they make a tablet called recitation, I'll swallow it. No, the things are there. This lady wasn't even Muslim. She walked off the plane saying all of these letters. So I want you to keep that in mind. When I say humble yourself to Quran, when I say learn to read Quran, I mean today. Fam, let me break it for real. I came down on the elevator at 9:58. I rode down the elevator with about 6, 7 sisters. 2 of them wore niqab. My elevator, this is open-mindedness. They want you to be liberal. They want you to be a Gilmore girl and be a large and in charge. Open-mindedness and being liberal and progressive, let me explain to you what progressive is. The elevator doors opened. The 2 sisters, there were 9 sisters, they walked out. The opposite elevator door opened. My God. And y'all are sitting in front of me. You all know who you are. You all literally burned holes in that girl's niqab. Everyone who walked out of the elevator in front of us, don't laugh. And I was lost. I bet you the lady sitting next to me on the plane wouldn't have judged her. She would have been open-minded. She would have been progressive. But when we look at each other, we don't have that. The way to Quran is to accept, I don't know. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows. And that sister, she understands that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants her to do it this way, so she does it this way. I don't do it that way, but I accept her, I love her, I respect her, and I will do anything for her. That's the way to Quran. Not by saying we're free and liberal and by matching our socks to our hijab pins and being all out, and that was never us. Being there in front of Quran is being to be humble and to be obedient to the law of Allah. And brothers, I push this to you. A lot of times we see the guy who's a little religious, right? You see the religious brother and you're like, oh, I'm going to back off. Dude, no one's asking you to be religious. Just don't treat them, the people who have found the way to Quran and are not sitting in a room with 500 other people trying to figure it out today. Don't judge them. Because they want to. And they want you to come along for the ride too. Because the way to the Quran is a beautiful walk. Do your best. Those three things, bi'idhnillah, will do a lot for you. Turn to obedience. Next time you hear someone say, this is haram, you shouldn't be doing that though. I'm going to be talking about the effect of rap, the effect of music in a little while. Before you sign me off, oh, music's halal. Forget about halal and haram for a second. What's going to get me to Quran? That's it. Sign that off. And the last thing that we have to do, لَعَلَّكُمْ تَعْقِلُونَ, so that we can understand. So we have these two major components. Bi'idhnillah, Allah will bless you. Turn to obedience of Quran. No one said you're going to like the medicine. At least accept it. Take it. And if it gives you the runs, eat a banana. Right? Amoxicillin gives you the runs. When you take antibiotics, it makes you runny. Eat a banana. But the last thing you need to do is, after you learn to read Quran, there are 500 vocabulary words of Quran. Memorize them like you memorized the useless SAT words that you memorized. Memorize the same. All that is clean and pure is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mistakes, misrepresentations are my own. Know the only way to be humble with the Quran is through one word: humility. And that humility will never be reached without modesty. I turn the mic over to our brother, our sheikh, and our teacher to talk about modesty. Jazakallah khairan. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.